In today's video, I want to talk about the Noctowl Ogerpon Tera Box and exactly how I would play this deck at the moment. We'll look at multiple different variants of the deck, and then we're also going to battle the deck versus Dragapult Dusknoir. So, the Noctowl Tera Box, we should definitely start with Noctowl. So, of course, we have Hoot Hoot, and there's two different Hoot Hoots. So this one has 10 HP extra, but one retreat more. So that's why we play mostly the 70 HP single retreat. However, later in the game, pretty much anytime past turn 2, if you're playing against, let's say, Dragapult, and some Dragapults are playing Hawlucha, the Hoot Hoot with 70 HP is going to be susceptible to Hawlucha plus Phantom Dive. Whereas if you evolve the 70 HPs into Noctowl and then bench another Hoot Hoot for next turn, if you bench that 80 HP Hoot Hoot, now that is not that's no longer susceptible to Phantom Dive plus Hawlucha. So that's the reason you might see a split of these Hoot Hoots in the decks. And then of course Noctowl's Jewel Seeker is an incredibly powerful effect. I've been saying that for a while now, and yeah, in post rotation, it's really getting its time to shine. So we play two Ogerpon Grass, two Water Ogerpon, one Pikachu, one Terrapago. So we have plenty of Terra Pokemon to satisfy the requirement for Jewel Seeker that there must be a Terra Pokemon in play to use this effect. So yeah, Noctowl can search for any two trainers, and you're going to see that in the gameplay, just how strong that is. Teal Mask Ogerpon EX has the Teal Dance, so that's why we're going to be playing mostly Grass Energy, because this is a bit of a draw engine. It can also be an attacker, specifically versus things weak to Grass, and it can also be an energy accelerant, because we do play 3 energy switch in this list. So Teal Dance and then energy switch outwards to a different Pokemon. Um, Between Teal Dance energy switch, Crispin, and Sparkling Crystal, we have a few ways to energy excel or get attacking faster with the Sparkling Crystal. Wellspring Mask Ogerpon has the Sob attack, 20 can't retreat, and then Torrential Pump, which Torrential Pump's going to be really strong because we can often get this attack going really early. So 100 to the active, 120 to a bench Pokemon will frequently be netting us 2 prizes right off the rip. So really strong for that. Fan Rotom is a part of the integral engine because Fan Call searches on your first turn for up to 3 colorless Pokemon with 100 HP or less. So that's going to get your Hoot Hoot set up and get some Noctowls into your hand. And the Ditto is really cool for switching into whichever Pokemon you need it on that first turn. Maybe you need to get a Terra Pokemon in play. Maybe you need to get a Latias EX. Maybe you need to get a Fan Rotom. So Ditto is useful for all of that. Lily's Clefairy EX has the ability Fairy Zone. The weakness of each of your opponent's Dragon Pokemon in play is now Psychic. Please note that this means not only Lily's Clefairy can hit Dragon Pokemon for weakness, but so can Mew EX, and I guess if you really had to, Latias EX could as well. But yeah, people are forgetting that not only Lily's Clefairy hits them for weakness, it just says they have the weakness of Psychic, so you can leave Clefairy on the bench and attack with one of your other Psychic Pokemon if that's the best way to build out your turn. And the attack Full Moon Rondo is basically just a copy of the Suicune Entei Raikou trio. The Rondo attacks 20 damage plus 20 more for each bench Pokemon, both yours and your opponent's. And we've got Pikachu EX, which is incredibly strong, both for its Resolute Heart ability. If this Pokemon has full HP and would be knocked out by damage from an attack, it is not knocked out, and its remaining HP becomes 10. And then Topaz Bolt, 300 damage, really good. You do have to discard 3 energy from this Pokemon. However, if you have Sparkling Crystal on and only 2 other energy, then you only end up discarding 2 because you do as much of the effect as can be done. Some cards might say discard 3 energy. If you can't discard 3 energy, then this attack can't be used, but this attack doesn't say that. So you can use it with Sparkling Crystal plus 2 and just discard the 2 energy that you do have on there. Terapagos, this will be a card that you'll see me cutting in other variants in just a moment. It's a fine attacker. You can try to go for the Crown Opal attack with the energies that this deck has. Crown Opal does 180, and then during your opponent's next turn, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from basic non-colorless Pokemon. So it does give you this kind of walling effect at your disposal in this deck. I mean, this is a toolbox deck. I should say that. Obviously, the deck I have it titled is Tera Box. And if you're new to the game or new to toolbox style decks, basically, you're going to be doing something different every matchup. Not necessarily every game. You know, if you play against only Dragapult decks, then you're probably going to be doing some pretty similar stuff game to game. But matchup to matchup, you're going to be using different attackers and going for different lines of play and going for different prize maps based on the Pokemon that your opponent is using. So that's why you see such a variety in the deck, and it could look a little messy, but Noctowl holds it all together. Then just rounding out some of these more generic Pokemon, we've got Blood Moon Ursaluna EX because it's a fantastic attacker with very high HP. This is such a good card. Like, they gave this card so much. High HP, colorless energy cost, the ability that makes its attacks cost less based on prize cards the opponent has taken, and a good attack. So Blood Moon Ursaluna EX couldn't really ask for anything more with that card. And notably, this is not a Terra Pokemon, so while all of your Terra Pokemon cannot damage Milotic EX, Blood Moon Ursaluna EX can do just that. We've got Mew EX for the restart ability, draw until you have 3, and then like I said, you can use Lily's Clefairy's ability to make Mew EX hit Dragapult EX for weakness, so you genome hack and copy Phantom Dive. That's something I've seen come up a couple of times in testing. Pheasantipity, really good onboard draw support for whenever something gets knocked out, you get to draw cards. And Latias EX gives you free retreat. Now, Crispin's going to be a pretty large component of this deck. We're playing a lot of different energies, so Crispin works great. Search your deck for up to 2 basic energy cards of different types, reveal them, put one into your hand, and attach the other to one of your Pokemon. Note that you have to hit 2 energies off of this search, because the first part that you do is put one of them into your hand. So if there's only one energy in your deck or one type of energy in your deck, Crispin will just basically be an energy search. You do need to find 2 energies in order to get the acceleration part. And Sparkling Crystal, this is another very huge piece of this deck because we have a lot of Terra Pokemon, and this is going to make them attack easier. And then Area Zero Under Depths, this is also going to work with your Terra Pokemon, giving you a larger bench size. So let's look at a little bit of the variations I was mentioning. So that's just straight up Tera Box. Now, the one I'm going to play today is this one, Tera Box with Cornerstone. And although Cornerstone won't matter for the matchup that we're going to play today, if I was taking this deck to a major tournament, this is probably the way I'd go with it right this second. Because Cornerstone is an answer to Milotic, and it's an answer to Farigiraf. So it's an answer to the walls, basically. Partially because Cornerstone says prevent all damage from attacks done to this Pokemon by your opponent's Pokemon that have an ability. So it does not take damage from Milotic or from Farigiraf, although it does get put to sleep by Milotic. And then Demolish says this attacks, damage isn't affected by weakness, resistance, or any other effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. So Demolish swings through Farigiraf's ability, and it swings through Milotic's ability. So Cornerstone gives you some cover against the anti-meta decks or against the wall decks. And that's really the notable thing for this version of the list, and that's what we're going to play today. Tera Box with Monkey. You know, you could easily just fit in a Dark Energy and have Monkey Dory in there. This can come in handy when, like what I was talking about, the Phantom Dive, copying Phantom Dive with genome hacking from UEX. You can monkey something to like a Dreepy, and then Phantom Dive for 3 prizes. And then also I have a list with 2 Clefairy in it and a Lily's Pearl. The Lily's Pearl says if the Lily's Pokemon this card is attached to is knocked out by damage from an attack from your opponent's Pokemon, that player takes 1 fewer prize card. So um, with the Lily's Pearl, I'm thinking you really just need this to work once in the late game to like get a good effect out of it. If your opponent's trying to take 2 prizes, 2 prizes, 2 prizes, and you are able to force them to go through a Lily's Clefairy EX with a Pearl on it, that forces them to take 1 whole more knockout, right? So if you make them go from 4 to 3 or 2 to 1, it gives you an entire other turn to survive and play the game and look for your win condition. So that's something I think we could see being splashed into these decks is a little bit of a thicker Clefairy line with potentially the Lily's Pearl. But like I said, we'll be playing with this list today. One more list I wanted to note was this 10th place list from Champions League Fukuoka. They were playing a 1-1 Farigiraf line in their deck. So Farigiraf EX, I've been mentioning it. It has the ability Armor Tail. Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's basic Pokemon EX. So this walls out a lot of stuff. And then Dirty Beam does 160 and 30 to a bench. The attack is fine. The big deal is that it can't be hit by basic Pokemon EX. And then it also kind of, I guess, counters itself. You know, if you have nothing that can attack an opposing Farigiraf EX, then you can build your own Farigiraf EX and attack with that. As I mentioned, I'm going the route of Cornerstone. And then the deck list I'm going to play against with the Tera Box is this 9th place Dragapult Dusk Noir deck. So we're going to hop on over to tcgmasters.net. This is a 1-player simulator where you play both sides of the matchup. And what I'm going to do is copy this game that I have started, and I'll also download the replay at the end. I'll probably have links and or download links. So if you want to play this exact match, you can go ahead and do that after watching the video. Or you could just go into tcgmasters.net, import whatever decks you want, and play with whatever decks. This is an amazing tool, and I use it a lot for learning matchups. So we're going first. I started with Ditto because of the transformative start, and I top decked Fan Rotom. So ignoring the Fan Rotom top deck, Ditto saves this start because this start is really bad without the Ditto. But we also top decked Fan Rotom, so it wouldn't have mattered anyway. That means we can transformative start into something else. So I'm going to start this turn by benching Fan Rotom and using Fan Call. So we already have 1 Hoot Hoot. And we also have a Ditto that could turn into a Hoot Hoot if I want to. So we could change Ditto into a Hoot Hoot, bench this Hoot Hoot. Then that would mean that we could Fan Call for 1 Hoot Hoot and 2 Noctowl. Have a really, really strong start to that. I could also change the Ditto into Latios EX, which I think will help for next turn. And thinking about what I'm trying to do next turn on my first turn attacking, Torrential Pump would be great. I already have the Crispin, so that would be accelerating an energy and putting an energy into my hand that I can attach. And then as long as Sparkling Crystal's in the deck, I can get that with Noctowl. So even if my opponent item locks me, I'm good to go. I can use Crispin, I can use Sparkling Crystal. I don't really need items to make this play work. So I'm going to go Fan Call, and let's look at the prize card. So we do have Sparkling Crystal. We do not have Latios, so the transformative start into Latios is not going to be the move, but I do have Mew EX, which is a free retreat, so I might just end up going into Mew EX for now, so that I have that free, easy pivot into the Wellspring next turn. So with Fan Call, I'm going to get 1 Hoot Hoot and 2 Noctowl, since I already have a Hoot Hoot in hand. And I'm going to transformative start into Mew EX, so I have the free retreater in active. I'm going to bench double Hoot Hoot. I'm going to bench my Wellspring, and then we don't need to do anything else this turn. on over to the Dragapult side. So we're going to have to decide here. Do we want to item lock or do we want to go for TM Evo? Just looking real quick. So we're not going for TM Evo, actually, because this Dragapult Dusknoir list does not play TM Evo. And that has been pretty common in the pre-rotation format as well. We've seen most, I think, successful Dragapult lists towards the end of this pre-rotation format foregoing the TM Evo. So because they're also using Lance in pre-rotation, but now we're using Jock in post-rotation, so we will definitely be going for the item lock play here, it would seem. So we'll go ahead and start with Arven, and Arven's going to be getting a Poffin, and we don't really need to get a skateboard, or a rescue board, because we do have Switch in the hand. So we could get Defiance Band, because that could be good for next turn. So we can go Badoo. Actually, no, since they are playing Sob, if they see that our switch is down, then that could just be really, really bad because they have Sob retreat lock. So it's actually smart to hold on to that switch because of the matchup that we're in, knowing that they have a retreat lock option. So rescue board will be the move here. And then we've got Buddy Buddy Poffin for Badoo and Dreepy. And I am going to expect that the opponent it's pretty good chance that the opponent will be able to do the torrential pump. So I'm going to retreat into this so that I can item lock, but I still have this nest ball to think about, and I have an energy attachment. So energy attachment to Dreepy makes sense. Nest ball could be saved for Pheasantipity, or it could be used right now to get another Dreepy, so that next turn, if one of my Dreepies go down, I can evolve a Dracloak and then still have a Dreepy open to potentially candy down a Dragapult onto. Just taking a look real quick again at the list here. So they do play one Crispin. EXP share was actually is actually prized this game, I believe. Yeah, EXP share is prized. So in this case, like, let's say we had EXP share in our hand, we could go attach to this Dreepy and then EXP share to the other Dreepy. That way, no matter which one they knock out, we get to keep an energy. Actually, I might be lying. EXP share might only say if our active is knocked out. Yeah, so that actually wouldn't even work against the torrential pump. So we're going to attach for turn. We'll leave the... Actually, we'll attach here because we'd rather they knock out the one with a skateboard on it so that in the future our attacking Dragapult can have Defiance Band on it. So we'll attach to the one with rescue board. And then the choice to either nest ball for Fez or nest ball for another Dreepy. Of course, if we're nest balling for Fez, I'm likely just going to hold on to the nest ball and not play it. I'm not expecting to get item locked next turn. Honestly, if I get item locked the next turn, that's fine. I'll just evolve up to Dracloak, Recon Directive. Wouldn't even bother me if I were to get item locked. We're really just expecting that the torrential pump is going to happen. So, not much else to do here. I am going to decide to hold on to the nest ball for Pheasantipity, and we'll go Itchy Pollen. So like I said, over here, we already have the turn to Torrential Pump in hand. So yeah, we're just going to go for it. So Noctowl, Evolve, we have a Tera Pokemon in play. We have Crispin in hand already. So Sparkling Crystal is one of the cards that we need. And then we're going to look to see what else can we set up. What else can we really do here? We could just grab a nest ball to get another Hoot Hoot. More Hoot Hoot is always good. That's more potential evolutions into Noctowl. We could, yeah, I think we're going to go Sparkling Crystal Nest Ball here. And Crispin for Water Energy. And it doesn't really matter because we shuffle it back into the deck. At least in this case, it doesn't really matter what we put onto the Pokemon. So we'll just do this and attach and Sparkling Crystal. And remember, we're doing all of this under item lock. Now the nest ball, I do realize we're under item lock, but we can just nest ball for the Hoot Hoot next turn. Outside of the nest ball, there wasn't anything I want to get in the deck. We can actually just go back and look at that real quick with the Noctowl search. So aside from the sparkling crystal, so all of these items are unusable. We're already playing our desired supporter for turn. We have a Noctowl in hand, so we can just Noctowl for whatever supporter we want next turn. And if we were to get Iono'd, then if we preemptively searched for a supporter, it would get Iono'd to the bottom of the deck anyway, or Unfair Stamped out of our hand anyway. So, yeah, we're going to go with Sparkling Crystal Nest Ball because I don't see the value of holding on to a supporter when we already have Noctowl in hand, and when that could get gusted away. Or not gusted away, shuffled away. Actually, I might start to see value in it. So this is what I love about TCG Masters. I can just sit here and discuss plays as long as I want. Whereas with TCG Live, you can't do that. But of course, TCG Live doesn't have post rotation yet, so can't do any of this anyway on there. Thinking a little bit further, it's a little easier to think when I just pause talking for a moment, trying to bridge the line between content creation and playing the game right now. So it is technically possible for them to go like Candy, Dragapult, Crispin, Halucha, Knockout, Hoot Hoot. I don't even remember if they're playing Halucha. They're not. But I don't necessarily know that. So the reason I say this is because if I'm afraid of them knocking out my Hoot Hoot, because they could go like Defiance Band, Crispin, Candy, Halucha, like it would be pretty crazy, but they could do that to knock out both my Wellspring and my Hoot Hoot, and then I wouldn't have. I don't even know what I would do from there, but seeing that they're only at 5 cards in hand, and I'm going to knock out one of their Dreepies and a Badoo here, I'm feeling pretty good. So we're going to go that Sparkling Crystal, but worst case scenario, we would probably want... I mean, we're probably going to want a Nest Ball for Lily's Clefairy or a Crispin also to power up Lily's Clefairy next turn. So it's quite a tough decision which one to get, but I think it's more likely that... I think it's likely we're going to get our hand disrupted anyway, and it's not going to matter which one we choose here. So, like we did, we'll go Crispin to there, attach that. Now we could begin preparing actually for some sort of response from the opponent. So we can play down Area 0, play down Ogerpon, play down Pheasantipede, and then we'll retreat and Torrential Pump, choosing yes for the energies and knocking out the Dreepy that has energy on it. So, if this was a Sparkling Crystal version of Dragapult, which I've actually been leaning more towards in my personal testing, and I will be making a video like this from the perspective of Dragapult as well, I've actually been liking Sparkling Crystal more. So, we could go Arven for Ultra Ball and Candy a Dragapult down. It does not feel very good. We can go Nest Ball for Fez. Look for that Crispin. I mean, it's so hard to play no Crystal and one Crispin, I feel, in this format, because we don't even have Lumineon to search. We don't have Forest Seal Stone. But again, we're focusing on the Tera Box right now. So we could Earthen Vessel prior to the Pheasantipede to thin the deck out a little more. We would probably Vessel away the Dracloak. However, we could just go into like an item lock again next turn, try to just stall. So we can go like Arven for Poffin. I believe this list is playing double Badoo. Yeah. So we can go Arven for Poffin, switch into Badoo, evolve Dracloak, Recon Directive. So we would Recon Directive first, actually. The best case would be... Okay, so the best play this turn is going to be Unfair Stamp Badoo and try to rebuild our board, I believe, because they could Torrential Pump again. But if we stamp them to 2 plus Badoo, they'll need to draw into the Crispin or the Noctowl. So I think we'll take that chance. And that also means that we could potentially Arven before we do Recon Directive and Fez. The problem is that we want to utilize this switch to get into the Badoo. So we need to look for Poffin or Badoo or Stamp off of this Flip the Script. We get none of them. So now we look for one of them off of the Dragapult because we want to be able to Arven for the Stamp or the Poffin, whichever one we miss here. And we're no longer looking for Crispin after we evolve the Dracloak. So now I feel okay going Vessel within the deck. We'll Vessel away Dusclops, get one of each energy, and then Recon Directive. We hit the Stamp, perfect. So that means we can go Arven for Poffin and Defiance Band. We Poffin for Dreepy Badoo. Check to see which energies we already used. We already used fire, so I'm going to attach a fire here. I'm going to attach a Defiance Band here. Switch into the Badoo, Unfair Stamp. And then we're going to item lock Itchy Pollen. Okay, so over here, Ogre Box has drawn into an Ultra Ball, which we cannot use for Noctowl for what we want because they Itchy Pollened. I could attach Lightning Energy, and I could also Boss. That would allow us to restart for 2. So what I'm looking at here as some viable options is I could Sob and Retreat Lock the Badoo now that I see Switch is gone. I could also Sob and Retreat Lock the Pheasantipede now that I see Switch is gone. And this particular list will not have a good way out of that right now. So that could stall for a turn while I build up what I actually want to do. Sob the Badoo feels less good because that means they're going to item lock me again. So I think Sob the Pheasantipede is the best play here. I could also attach the Fan Rotom, knock out the Badoo. Oh no, I don't have Latios in play. I'm so used to having Latios in play. Okay, so Lightning Energy doesn't even have to go to active. I could just Sob for free because of Sparkling Crystal. However, I think I'm going to probably want the energy on there eventually. It could also go on to Mew to prepare for a Phantom Dive. So let's see. If we were to Phantom Dive with Lily's Clefairy in play, knock out Dragapult, knock out Badoo, that would be 3 prizes. Okay. So what I'm thinking is I Sob for 20. Then the following turn, I could Torrential Pump to take 1 prize card, and then I could finish the game with a Phantom Dive for 3, potentially, is what I'm thinking. Of course, if I were to restart into a Crispin, I could knock out that Dracloak. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach active and then restart for 1. We do not get a Crispin. So I'm going to then boss up the Fez and Sob. All right, now as mentioned, the opponent doesn't have any way out of that Sob. They could boss or counter catcher. They could Gust something up. That's like the best play from the Dragapult side here, probably. So let's see what it is we want to start out with. I believe we might want to start with... Oh, actually, I think I might want to Candy down a Dragapult this turn and then evolve the other Dracloak. So the opponent will have to take 2 prize KOs, which renders the Badoo on my bench useless. So let's first go Dracloak. We get an Ultra Ball. We also get an Artisan. Artisan, if I play that down, it could stop the opponent from spreading their bench. They're just going to discard Fan Rotom or Noctowl. But Ultra Ball can get me the second Dragapult that I want to kind of force my opponent into more awkward prizes. So we'll grab the Ultra Ball. And we'll go Arven for Candy. And we'll Candy down the Dragapult. And then we'll Ultra Ball for Dragapult. And I mean, I don't love this because now I don't have Dracoloaks, but the opponent I mean, the opponent's start here, the pressure they're putting on is quite scary, and I know they have items next turn. I don't think I want to waste this counter catcher. I'm just gonna pass. So from here, the question becomes, can I knock out a Dragapult EX? I would need Boss, Clefairy, Psychic Energy, Energy Switch. Okay, so we'll start with a Teal Dance. Hmm. Yeah, I mean, I have all the time in the world if I'm assuming the opponent does not play anything other than the one switch, right? So I could just take another turn to sob, which means I'd rather research and get a larger hand than Ultra Ball for Noctowl and waste that search right now when I'm not even using the combo to get a win condition. So we'll go research here. Now I have Noctowl if I want to use it. We have everything for next turn, but we could get Iono'd. So I think Noctowl for the Nest Ball for Lily's Clefairy and a Vessel for the Psychic Energy for Lily's Clefairy, so we just have everything ready to go for next turn. That seems very good to me. Does not feel like a waste of the Noctowl. So we'll go Nest Ball and did I already use Vessel? Is Vessel prized? Vessel's prized. That's okay. Little awkward prizing the Latios and the one Vessel, but that is fine. We'll just have to draw into Psychic Energy, I suppose. Or we'll just take another turn and use Crispin, you know, to find the Psychic Energy. So, yeah, I'm going to get Nest Ball and Crispin. Just double checking that Psychic Energy wasn't in the discard pile, because then I could get Night Stretcher. And then we'll Nest Ball for the Lily's Clefairy. And Energy Switch from Teal Mask to the Lily's Clefairy. So it's one away for next turn. If we were to like top deck into the Psychic Energy, you know, we already have it, right? And then we'll go, and then we save this Grass Energy. Like we could attach it active, but we're just sobbing, right? We don't want a Torrential Pump. So we save this Grass Energy for Teal Dance, and then we sob. Um, from over here, I can see that the opponent has a 6-card hand. They're kind of building their hand, right? So, and they're out of Hoot Hoots. So I just want to Iono here. Still no more energy. We are going to need a Psychic Energy at some point if we're ever going to attack. Benching Duskull's good. I'm going to go ahead and bench this Artisan. And Artisan for another Duskull. I could also Super Rod and Artisan for a Dreepy to get more draw support. Yeah, that's better. So let's undo that. We're going to Super Rod, Dreepy, Fire, Dusk, and then Artisan for Dreepy. And that way next turn I could like Jock for Dusclops plus Dracloak or something. And we'll pass here. Okay, so we do find the Psychic. We don't have a boss yet, but we can just Teal Dance and see what that brings us. Teal Dance into Noctowl, that does not help yet. Attach here. If the Artisan wasn't down, we could bench this Hoot Hoot and then have our plan next turn. So we'll just sob. I mean, now they are benching more single prizers, right? So like we could consider Torrential Pump, but it's not good right now because then the opponent will get to retreat. But they would only get to retreat into Jet Headbutt, but of course we don't know if they have Crispin in their hand. So we'll just sob again. We get Dracloak off the top. Dracloak for a Dracloak doesn't do much. I guess we could also Dracloak for Poffin. That way, like if something gets knocked out, we could Poffin for another Duskull if we want. Jacques, just because. So we'll grab Dusclops Dragapult, thin out the deck. We're looking for energies and evolve Dusclops and pass. Okay, so still I mean, we can restart now. So we'll go Metal Energy could go to Mew. Yeah, we'll go Metal Energy to Mew, and then Ultra Ball away Wellspring and Noctowl for nothing, and then restart for 2. We get Energy Switch. That doesn't help right now. We'll just keep going Sob. And the opponent has a boss. Go track. Okay, so we got Psychic Energy now. That's good. Still can't retreat the Fez. We have Duskclops or Dusk Noir now. So like, we could pop a Dusk Noir. It doesn't do anything, but it's there. We have Boss, doesn't do anything. Okay, just another pass. Okay, we now have Area 0. That changes things. So we can go Area 0, put down Hoot Hoot. Energy Switch to the Mew EX. We could play the other Energy Switch too, but like I think we're fine. Like the opponent has not shown a sign of Turo yet, or like a second switch, so I'm thinking we're gonna be okay. Um, Restart into those. We don't want to research. Nest Ball could be okay. We've already used Super Rod over here. No, we use Super Rod on the other side. All right, so Nest Ball. We'll hold on to this. Let me just check the list again. So, okay, we're playing 2 Night Stretcher, no Super Rod. So I feel less inclined to hold on to the Nest Ball if we're not playing Super Rod, because that means it can't get Clefairy, like Super Rod Clefairy. So I just want to thin out the deck. I'm going to grab, we'll just grab another Teal Mask. And I mean, we could research. So if we research, because we want a Noctowl. There's 1 Noctowl left, but there's also 2 Night Stretchers. And then next turn, that would give us Boss Up Dragapult and could even Genome Hacking to copy Phantom Dive, knock out Dragapult, put damage on the next Dragapult maybe. Or we could just sob until, yeah, we just sob until the Fez is a Phantom Dive away and then we win. Okay, so we'll go Energy Switch, Research. Teal Dance doesn't hurt. Attached to Lily's Clefairy. I want to keep energy in my hand in case they go for like a desperate like boss up Noctowl play or something. I mean, we also have Turos, but we'll keep some energy. We don't find the Noctowl, but we do find the boss, and we'll go Sob. Okay, so now we are close to being able to attack with Pheasantipity, actually. Let's go Recon Directive. Crispin. I think we just have to say, okay, if you don't do something, I'm going to start attacking with Pheasantipity next turn. And then we'll also pop in for a Duskull, play Artisan, get rid of the Badoo. And then over here, we'll just get rid of a Teal Mask and a Noctowl. And then pass. So this forces the Tera Box side to now make a move. Because of those energies, because we'll lose Hoot Hoot potentially if they start attacking with Cruel Arrow. So we'll go boss up the Dragapult, and we genome hacking Phantom Dive and put 6 on Duskull. Yeah, we'll put 6 on Duskull, I think. I mean, I don't believe there's a single way for the opponent to win anymore, for the Dragapult player to win anymore. So we'll go retreat. Boss. Dragapult. We have the Lily's Clefairy on backup. Yeah, I think we are. I think this is gonna be game. So we'll genome hacking, copying Phantom Dive, which is a knockout. And I guess I could put 6 on the Fez. It doesn't really matter. We'll just knock out Duskull. Oh, actually, knocking out Duskull puts me into a worse Iono position. We'll just put it on Fez. I don't want to get Iono to 1. And send that out. Okay. Start with Pheasantipity. Recon Directive. Okay, there's no Iono there. Catcher. That. Knock out that. Alright, we have lines. We have a line with Dragapult. So we'll go Counter Catcher. Oh no, we don't have a line because we don't play Sparkling Crystal, and so okay. So the acceleration to Fez forced the opponent to start moving, but like if we were able to Phantom Dive, if we just had one more energy attachment over the course of the game, or like an XP share or something, then we can go Counter Catcher up to Lily's Clefairy, or we wouldn't even have to Counter Catcher it, right? We could just go Dusknoir on the Lily's Clefairy, knockout. Both Mew-EX and Lily's Clefairy take 4 prizes. We don't have Iono. I think this is pretty hopeless. I guess I could... Yeah, we're just going to Counter Catcher the Lily's Clefairy and knock it out like this. And then we just lose to Genome Hacking, knocking out our Fez, so we can't do that. But if we knock out the Mew-EX, we also lose. So I think it's just GG. I don't see a position here where Dragapult can win. So we'll just pick one of the plays, I guess. Yeah, this is so rough. Let's do the math. So yeah, the Rondo will knock out our Dragapult no matter what. So Dusknoir, knockout, and yeah, either we win with knocking that out, or if they left the Mew alive, we can just knock out Pheasantipity. So I don't think from that position there was a way for the Dragapult player to win. Yeah, thanks for watching today. Regardless if you, I mean, I guess if you're listening to this, you stuck around for the whole thing. But yeah, I'll leave links for the deck lists and stuff in the description down below if I don't, or you want more links for something. Just let me know if I forgot to put something in the description or the pinned comments, and I'll fix that. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time here on Celio's Network.